Go.
Hey y'all, Tracy with RX Performance again, and still on the subject of intake valve coking and proper crankcase evacuation and oil separation in today's direct injection engines. We've got a 2012 Mini Cooper here, little 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. As anybody that does a Google search or has owned one, they know the BMW based direct injection engines are extremely susceptible to the intake valve coking from the no fuel washing the intake valves. So this one we have just completed and reassembled everything on doing a manual intake valve cleaning. We had removed the intake manifold itself, and we used our walnut shell media blasting system. And at 38,000 miles, these were severely coked. We did it before dyno and after dyno. We picked up somewhere between 4 and 6 horsepower and foot-pounds of torque just with the cleaning service. Fuel economy will go up with that as well. Now we'll come in, and although we're not actually installing the catch can system on here, the owners of this are trading it for a new vehicle, but we'll show you the first steps. We're going to remove the coil pack cover to begin with. The oil fill cap, we'll leave that in there so no debris gets in to begin with. We're going to now differences 2007 to 2010 is going to have a factory foul side or dirty side. There will be on this corner of the cam cover a fitting and a tube that goes down into the intake manifold itself, and that's where the vacuum source comes from. The problem was with their design, they were getting excess oil ingestion as well, so they've done away with it for the 2011 and up, which helped to reduce the severity of the intake valve coking, but at the sacrifice of engine life and longevity, because now they're not evacuating the crankcase. They only have a fresh side connection, which is fresh side coming in when there's no boost. When there's boost, then it's pressure bleeding back out of it. So it's ingesting oil in that way and leaving the majority of the contaminants inside. With a proper PCV system, you always must have a clean side where fresh air is coming in, one side of the crankcase, and a foul side or a dirty side where your oil-laden, damaging compound-laden vapors are being evacuated out of the crankcase. Keep the engine living nice and long, keeps your engine oil clean. So, if you're a 2007 to 2010, you're going to have this fitting and connection here that would do things just a little differently. But for the 2011 and up, that's what we're going to deal with here. So we're going to turn the clean side into by removing this. And this clip is just going to retain that, come off, put that clip back in place at a later time, and then that's ready to snap back on. Now when we first took this off, we're able to pour oil right out of it. We've cleaned it with brake clean, so it's dry now since we performed our intake valve cleaning service. So this normally would be the clean side, bringing in filtered fresh air from the main air box. This is a mass airflow equipped engine, so it's important that our clean side is going to have metered fresh air coming in. A lot of Ford and Chrysler are speed density, so they work on a map sensor alone, and you don't have to be concerned with where you go as long as you're getting filtered fresh air coming in. So we're going to turn this into the dirty side, the evacuation side, and just to test to make sure that it'll flow. And there is a check valve in there, so we're not able to use this for the dirty side. We're going to have to evacuate coming from a different point. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our clean side separator is going to replace the OEM cap. Now this simply pulls apart for when you want to add oil. So cap is put in, half turn, then this is pushed in, O-ring seal. You want to add oil, you just pull the top portion up. And we're going to want this clean air, which was coming in right at the turbo inlet, to come in up here closer to the mass airflow sensor and further from the turbo inlet. Okay, so we would be doing these steps a little different if it was like 07 through 2010. We would have our dirty side outlet here instead of here, but since there is no clean side inlet now, which BMW did to try to reduce the severity, we make this billet fitting, screws in our 90-degree adapter. You seat that in there so it doesn't leak. This is now going to be our dirty side, and this is going to go from here to where the catch can mounts. And the catch can mounts, we pop this little box off, spin it around, and it slides right into its own little spot there. Gives us room for the catch can. Then the catch can's going to go in here. It's going to be a tight fit, but the catch can will screw onto here. There'll be two outlets and one inlet. This is an unfinished can here. And so this will go to the center of the can. And this is where we're evacuating all the foul vapors out of the crankcase and through the oil separating system.
So normally there'd be a fitting right there, a 90-degree fitting that would pop right into.
Correct.
Right?
There would be, let's see, I've probably got a...
And then that little piece, that little box that we removed is some sort of little fuse holder or something that sits there on the firewall.
This will have a fitting like this. This will go into that, so our foul vapors are going to come out here. For the clean side, we're going to turn that into using the RX clean side separator. And what we'll be doing is one end will go here. The other end is going to go right into this section. This is our mass airflow meter, so our sensor, so we're going to want to make sure this is metered air. So we'll be drilling into this with a 1/2-inch drill bit. Use a 3/8 NPT tap to cut some threads. This will thread in, and this is where our filtered by the main air filter box is going to come in and provide our filtered fresh air that will be flushing through the system and evacuating the foul air out here.
And so of course that they want to be in front of that air sensor so as not to disrupt
downstream
that.
of it.
Yeah, downstream of it. Okay,
yes,
cool.
so behind it. So
makes sense.
Downstream, the flow is going this way. So everything going into the combustion chamber is metered by the mass airflow sensor.
Cool.
If it was a speed density application, we wouldn't be concerned. We just want filtered fresh air. Then we're going to take our other billet adapter, and that's going to pop in here and seal. And this, and forgive me because this is all just mock-up here because this customer again isn't getting it. This will have a line for our secondary outlet from the can. There will be a fitting here. There will be inline check valve, and we're using turbo inlet suction for evacuation when we're in boost.
So that's a vacuum source, and normally on the can that comes with this kit is going to have 3 different fittings on top. The middle is where the vapors come in, and then the vacuum source is going to be on either side of that.
Yeah,
so
these are the outlets.
Sources.
So
yeah.
This being a single valve can, we're just showing for demonstration purposes here. So we would have the other. This is going to provide evacuation when you're in boost. There will be an inline check valve to prevent any reversion or any pressure going back through. You're going to then tapping into on a this step would be different again on a 2007 to 2010 because we already have a foul side or a dirty side outlet here that would go down into intake manifold vacuum tap. Since we don't have that, the intake manifold is still the same as the earlier models, so you have to remove the intake manifold. There will be 2 barbs. One of them is the main vacuum connection for your power brakes and your other vacuum powered accessories, and below that is a 1/2 inch barb that is molded and blocked off. You're simply going to put a 3/8 inch drill bit into the inside of that barb, put a little grease or Vaseline on it so it doesn't get debris in there. You'll drill that through, so then that will provide your suction, and then we'll have the primary suction when you're in non-boost using intake manifold vacuum with the inline check valve flowing away from the can is going to provide your evacuation anytime that you're at idle, deceleration, or just cruising where you're not making boost. And what we've accomplished then is we have taken this from their latest generation, which provides no evacuation of the damaging combustion byproducts that are entering as blow-by in the crankcase, which will shorten the life of the engine dramatically with the contaminants in the oil. We have converted it so we're back to a proper fresh air in, foul vapors out, constantly evacuating this crankcase, pulling those vapors out, and separating and trapping the oil so we don't have the intake valve coking issue that we had. And again, my apologies that this is just a mock-up. As soon as we get another Mini in here, we have to get a 2007, excuse me, to 2010, and then another one of these that we'll be doing the full installation on. And hopefully that's been helpful.
Well, I think this is a really simple installation. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. The fact that you're taking out this factory tube, using this for the evacuation, this is a vacuum source here in the turbo inlet, simply tapping right here for the clean side separator, and I would say probably the most difficult part of this installation is the fact that you've got to get underneath the intake manifold and tap into that barb down there. But even that's pretty simple, right?
Yes, that's not a difficult step to do. So
cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, hopefully that helps. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for the Mini Cooper video. Again, this is the turbo model. This is the S, and hopefully that helps you. rxperformanceproducts.com.